Hi everyone, thanks for joining me. I am back with this Valentine's inspired gnome. He is just too cute, so I had to share him with you. So let's get started. I just got this little tub thing from the dollar store, so I'm going to work with that, and we're going to fill it with some aluminum foil with a little bacon bond on the bottom. And I also made this cone just out of aluminum foil, and we're going to cover that with our polymer clay. I didn't worry too much about the colors as I did it this time around. I knew I was going to be painting it later, so kind of went with variations of what I was going to be using. And then we're just covering the bottom here as well. A little more bacon bond. And now we're going to add a beard to our guy. Yes, that cone is our guy. And then we're just going to add some texture, just rolling the rolling tool. I find that works best for me, but you can do it any way you like. And now just a mustache. I wanted him to have a nice curly mustache. And more texture. Especially when you're painting it again later, texture is so important because it really picks up, like the paint shows it so much more. So you really want to get that texture in there, especially in the hair. Now we're working on a nose here. I like my noses to look a little more like noses. I know some people like their noses just round on their gnomes. Whatever you prefer. And again, just another cone for his hat. And then we just form the center in there. And this is where you decide as how floppy of a hat you want to make it. And now some arms we're going to work on. As you can see, again, I wasn't too worried about the color. His hat was getting in the way. And make sure and smooth those arms on really good. Hiding the seam there. I kind of went back and forth if I wanted both the arms up or one arm up, but I decided to go with just the one arm, put his other arm in the tub with him. And now I started making our bubbles. And lots of bubbles. I just kept making bubbles. Add a couple little bubbles to his nose. And now we're just going to work on a hand. Hands are not my favorite thing to do, which is probably why I decided only to have one on this guy, to be honest. And then just make a spot for his thumb. And then what Valentine's Gnome in a bubble bath doesn't need some champagne? Let's make him a little champagne bottle. And yes, he's drinking right out of the bottle. He's a gnome, he's allowed. Pretty sure they have a higher alcohol tolerance actually. And more bubbles. Champagne bubbles and bubble bath bubbles. So many bubbles. So now I'm just making a tiny little rose. With a tiny little stem and tiny little leaf. And we're going to put that in his mouth. And I decided he needs more bubbles. I'm just making a towel here for the side of his tub. Adding a little bit of detail to it so you can tell it's a towel. And again, texture, texture, texture. I found those brushes work great for making a towel texture on the clay. And now I'm just going to start making him some little boots for beside the tub. I wanted them to look pretty worn. And a pair of jeans. Again, I wanted them to look pretty rough. Belt loops. I added some little cuffs on the bottom of the jeans just to make it look a little more 3D. And then I made a little washcloth as well. Fully baked now, he's all hard. We're gonna start baking him up. This is my favorite part, is when things really start to come together and you can really see your creation taking on his own little personality. Took me a few coats of that purple to get it the way I wanted it. I added just an off-white to his beard to make it look a little more natural. And that's just a black wash I put on the face cloth, and I did on the washcloth and his pants and stuff too. It does dry a little lighter than it looks. Just made it look a little more worn. This is what we're going for here. Some highlights on the bubbles. I did a little metallic teal color and a purple color. Touch up the rose. And I used paint markers to write my letters onto his towel here. Oh yeah, he's sexy and he knows it. Just look at him, so cute. Just a big X on his champagne. I added this dragonfly glaze to the water just to give it more, or the bubbles, just to give it more of a shimmer on it. And then I put UV resin all over anywhere where we wanted water. And then I'm just touching it up after with some paint again. But I put it all over the bubbles and on his hat a little bit, anywhere I wanted it to look wet. Had a little bit drip down his towel as well to make it look like water, hopefully. Hey guys, and there he is. I hope you love him as much as I do. Thanks for watching. Thanks for the support. Love to all. See you again next week.